Welcome into KC Sports Tonight. A lot of news on this Wednesday. The biggest one of the day that we're going to start with, obviously, is that, as Paul Revere once said, the British are coming. England has chosen Swope Village for its base camp site in Kansas City for the World Cup this summer. Even though they have no games in Kansas City this summer, they have a game in New York, a game in Jersey, and a game in Dallas. So we kind of knew England was going to end up somewhere in KC for the most part. Now it's official. What are your thoughts, Gabe?
My thought is, to your point about no matches in Kansas City, this proves a lot about how just the centrally located area of Kansas City is such a factor that they sought this out to even go outside of the proposed base camps that FIFA had organized. We've seen a couple nations do this. Like, I think Spain is going to like Chattanooga, Tennessee, which was not on the board.
Spain and Chattanooga,
yeah, exactly.
Tennessee. The culture
Yeah,
they'll bring.
What a cultural connection to there. And so that's what I just lean toward, is that it's emblematic of how centrally located Kansas City is. We've been in newscasts tonight running this graphic showcasing the direct flight times from Kansas City to anywhere across the country, and all of them are generally reasonable time frames. So I think that England, which is a team that, whether they end up doing this or not, who knows, because it's a nation that has typically had a lot of soccer heartbreak, but if they advance deeper into the tournament, who knows where they're going to be playing their future matches. So it's a pretty solid location to be set up in. And it's not a bad facility either. Neil's been out there all afternoon. Samantha Boring's been out there all afternoon. It's another great indication for what's to come for Kansas City this summer.
Yeah, and if you've missed our newscast today, you've been missing quite the fun live shots from Neil. He's been getting our photographer Riley in there to like go behind the gates that are covered and show people what the fields look like. But Neil's been around here so long that he used to go there when the Chiefs used to practice there. And obviously Sporting used to practice there as well. Now they're at Compass Minerals, which is where Argentina is going to be. That still leaves two other FIFA-identified base camp locations. And actually, Swope wasn't even one of the FIFA-identified locations. So all this time we've been talking about the big three being the KC Currents facility in Riverside, Compass Minerals in KCK, and Rock Chalk Park in Lawrence. I was just out at Rock Chalk Park yesterday. Head to our website for a little story about what is offered there that might draw a team to pick it. And this one kind of just came out of nowhere. There are four now, so we could have up to 4 teams setting up base camp here in Kansas City this summer, in addition to the massive games that we're going to be getting here at Kansas City Stadium, as we must call it. Yeah, this is huge. Echo everything Gabe just said. You know, it speaks volumes that England has no games here, and they're still setting up camp here. And it's not even, you know, obviously the central location is a big factor, but it means that, you know, they got to have good facilities as well. So what we have here in KC is some of the best, and super exciting that we have gotten another soccer, football powerhouse coming to Kansas City as well. Any more World Cup thoughts?
We got a lot of stuff online about it.
Yes, we do. Head to kctv5.com, KCTV5 Plus for all that fun stuff. Happy baseball spring training reporting day. The Royals are out in Arizona, kicking things off today. We are just over a month away from the first home game of the season, opening day at the K, which will be broadcast right here on KCTV5, as well as 9 other games throughout the season. So we're super happy and excited to be partnering with the Royals once again this year, to show some of their games for free. But spring training today, news coming out about Chris Bubic winning arbitration with the Royals. Gabe, you wrote a story about this. I'll let you take it.
Yeah, so MLB.com's Mark Feinsand reported that Bubic won his arbitration hearing. He said that he will be paid $6.15 million this year. He filed at that number. The Royals filed at $5.15. we had a lot of conversation about when Vinny Pasquantino was reportedly heading toward arbitration, and then he did not end up pursuing it because he ended up coming to a contract agreement with the Royals, and how more often than not you would like to avoid arbitration because as an organization it just puts you on a path to arguing against and telling your player all the reasons that you think that they aren't worth the amount of money that they think that they're worth.
Yeah.
The Bubic case, I think, is an interesting one, and probably one where it's more okay to argue it, I guess, just off of the fact of how often he's been injured. When he's been out there, he's been great. He was great out of the bullpen in 2024. He was great. He was an all-star for the first half of the season of 2025 and appeared in the all-star game, and then I think he made 1 or 2 starts at the end of July and had the shoulder strain and ended his season. So I can understand why the Royals were maybe like, we don't quite agree with what you came up with. But at the same time, when he's been out there, he has been really good, particularly since he's been working with Brian Sweeney as the new pitching coach. So it's good that he's under contract. It still leaves us with the question that I feel like every time that I talk baseball with Mark Palos, Mark and I are talking about how they have more starting pitching than you typically enter a season with as far as a starting rotation. And so I don't know necessarily. I'm super intrigued to see among the largest storylines for this season for the Royals is just how does the rotation end up going, aside from Cole Reagan's pitching on opening day, which we assume is going to be what happens. What else are they going to do? Because they have a lot of options at this point.
Yeah, and you have to also factor in that I don't think they imagined that Noah Cameron was going to be what he became so quickly last year when they just brought him up for one fill-in game. And then he ends up becoming a starting pitcher. So you add him into the lineup as a young guy. The Royals, no pitching problems. We'll see how the hitting problems go throughout spring training. Obviously, a big focus, especially with them bringing the fences in this offseason. We're going to see that in action when they play their first game at the K on March 30th on KCTV5 at 3:10. See if that makes any type of difference with home runs, just getting things a little more offensive in these games. But yeah, spring training, it's begun. We are so close to baseball, just a few weeks away.
Everybody was saying like pitchers and catchers report, but all the clips that you've seen from the Royals, they've got a lot of their infielders and outfielders there too, and I think a lot of that comes down to like Salvador Perez is there, Maikel Garcia is there, Bobby Witt Jr., all of these different guys for the most part, I think are there because so many of them are going to go play in the World Baseball Classic that they wanted to be there early. And I think that's good for team chemistry. I think it's good for just rhythm and stuff of them all getting going before they all disperse for the WBC.
Yeah, and we have a lot of Royals playing in completely different places for the WBC.
Miami and Houston and all those different parts of the country. But I'm excited because I think the WBC is super fun and it's more meaningful baseball than spring training baseball is.
Yeah.
So we'll get a chance to root on Bobby Witt Jr. and the U.S. team and everything else that's going on there. It's almost like a little. I know that the history of it is not the same, but it's a little early preview of the World Cup, just baseball version.
Yeah.
A couple months earlier.
Yeah, on like a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you care and get excited about spring training baseball?
Not very.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of like
you see the storylines.
Non-conference early college basketball.
I get way more excited for non-conference college basketball than spring training.
I would say like non-Power 4 though, like when like they're playing Green Bay.
But the games, at least those games count.
Yeah.
So
I mean like when you also put in the fact that like football is still going on, other stuff. So it's like right now with like basketball going on, I'm like spring training, yay.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
But we are for sure excited for them to get to the real business, get back here to KC for opening day, and to have so many games on our air this year. Speaking of college basketball, Brett Yormark told all of us like a week ago that they were going to be rolling out some major changes to the Big 12 tournament. The huge announcement was coming on Tuesday. I'll tell you, the announcement did not come on Tuesday. It came today. Big 12's Twitter account tweeted out yesterday, Commissioner got too excited. And I got to say, I saw 2 local guys who have a podcast about the Big 12 claimed that they knew what the announcement was. They said it was going to change the game, all this stuff. The announcement came today. It's a glass court that changes with video effects.
An LED court.
LED glass court that you can control from an iPad to like have the logos of the schools, or like ads or like other stuff. Changing the game.
I mean,
it's cool.
It's cool, I guess. But it's very from like a PR standpoint. It's just like they hyped it up as if he said that we want to be change makers, we want to be innovators, we want to lead the pack. Ultimately, the reason people are going to come to Kansas City for this tournament is because the number 1 team in the country is currently in the conference. The number 3 team in the country is currently in the conference. The number 5 team in the country is currently in conference. The number 9 team in the country is currently in the conference. And I would argue that the number 9 team in the country hasn't even reached its ceiling yet because their best player has not played very often. And there's other teams that are ranked and it's going to be a who's who of Final Four contenders at least once you get to Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But when you say like we're doing this, it's not attracting anyone. It's just going to be a different visual. I will say this: I would prefer. So you can go to either the Big 12 Conference's Twitter account. We have the story up online. You can go look at the image that they sent as a preview.
Yeah.
That looks a little bit more like the court from 2 years ago, which was a more traditional color.
Yeah.
Which, of course, they can change with the click of a button, apparently, under this setup.
Of an iPad.
And with under an iPad. They used it at the 2024 NBA All-Star Game. It's been used in like FIBA games and EuroLeague games before. I've looked at photos of it. It's cool. It's not earth-shattering stuff.
It's changing the game.
And I will say I'm glad that it's not the court from last year. The court from last year was tough on the eyes, for sure. And I'm sure that being in the I can't wait to be in the building for this year. It's always a fun event to go to. I'm sure that the pregame intros and all of those kinds of things will be interesting. They've said that there was like 4 different things that they'll use it for of the intros and in-game statistical stuff. I'm thinking like they'll maybe at halftime they'll do the ESPN animation that they do of like the green dots for where you've made shots from, red X's for where you've missed, to show fans and stuff, and then in-game entertainment. It's going to be a great event, and it was going to be a great event even if they just had a traditional wood floor on the ground there at T-Mobile Center. So
yeah, I don't think this
a little
is
overhyped.
Convincing anybody from like what's a state far away from here?
West Virginia. You
West
think
Virginia.
people from Morgantown are changing their plans off this?
This is convincing anybody from Morgantown to like book a flight to Kansas City, just to see the fancy court.
I got to see the glass floor.
I got to see the glass floor, so I'm gonna spend all this money on tickets for my family and I to go out to Kansas City. No. I genuinely thought the announcement was going to be that like they found some way to kind of model the Vegas tournament over Thanksgiving and have like NIL type prizes or incentives or things like that. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the legal issues with all that. But when people are claiming to know what the announcement is and they're saying that it's changing the game of college athletics, that's what I'm expecting.
Because that would actually change the game. I'm trying to think of if that's allowed necessarily.
I don't know.
But if it was allowed and it was executed on by the Big 12, that would change the impetus, I guess, of guys in the transfer portal to choose on which school they want to go to. Oh, if I go to Arizona or Houston or Iowa State or Kansas, I can win the Big 12 tournament. I can make a little extra money. That's not what this is. So no. I'm like, cool. It'll be cool to see, but
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a all right, big whoop announcement.
It didn't warrant the tease and the build up
No.
that it got. If it
No.
was just announced on a random day, there was no build up, we'd have been like, yeah, cool, whatever.
It would be
Cool.
if that announcement comes out of nowhere, people are like, oh,
Cool.
that's kind of cool. But when it's we have a huge announcement and we're going to be
changing
change
the
makers.
game. We're
Okay.
pushing the envelope. We're
All right.
innovators.
You're a little full of yourself, Brett.
Anyways, the Big 12 tournament is we are less than a month away from the women's tournament, which is the first week of March from Wednesday to Sunday.
4th.
Yes.
March 4th.
through the 8th.
3
whatever
weeks.
days
I
of
think
the
it's
week
3
those
weeks
are.
from today.
Yeah. And then after that, the men will hit the court. We're going to see the fancy glass board court in action for both tournaments. Even more incentive to go to the super fun, awesome women's tournament. See a lot of local Kansas City kids playing in that as well, and see the fancy video board or court. I want to call it a video board so bad. No, it's court board.
I mean, it essentially is a video board on the
video
floor.
court board.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a tongue twister in the future. Yeah. Thank you, Brett Yormark. College hoops. As we talk about these top-ranked teams, Gabe, you and I have not had a chance yet to talk about the game the other night. KU taking down the number one team in the country on its home court for the first time ever. That has never happened in program history before. The last time they hosted the number one team in the country was in 2003. It was Arizona, fun fact, and KU lost that game. Bill Self, I can't remember the last time I saw him look that happy. And like
Double fist pumps in the air.
yeah, and hugging players. And Flory Badunga's making jokes at the podium after the game about how he's gotten 3 hugs from Bill Self this season. And he's like, oh, my God, we got to cut him off. Like, he can't keep hugging us. Like, no, which is so funny. Flory's been having jokes at the podium lately, which I think is really fun. He's having a lot of fun with it. This team is so fun to watch. And for reference, like, I started covering the Jayhawks right after the 2022 National Championship. They were winning that when I was about to graduate from school.
Yep.
And I was on the East Coast, so did not care anything about KU at the time. And I get here, and the seasons that I've covered since, I don't think have been particularly...
The first year they were fun.
The first year they were fun. They had Jalen Wilson and Grady Dick and all that fun stuff. So then there were the last 2. And I haven't seen Bill Self look so happy in so long.
Yeah.
And seeing that on the court the other night was really refreshing. And, I mean, you grew up in the area and you're a lot more connected to KU. So, I mean, what emotions were you feeling after they win that game?
I think it's I said on Monday's show before the game, thinking that Darren Peterson was going to play.
Didn't we all?
I said to Marlia, I was on a text chain with some people, one who covers a team in the Big 12, another who works for a college basketball team, and said, essentially, if you're picking KU, you pick KU, and if they lose, you're like, okay, I believed in a team with the best coach in the school's history, and it's the winningest school in college basketball history, beating someone at home in a game that they, more often than not, like 80% of the time, they win a home game. Or I can pick the undefeated number one team in the country that is super deep and all those kinds of things. But, like, am I going to pick against KU doing what KU does?
Also, undefeated seasons are so hard. It's like you have to pick them to mess up at some point.
You have to lose at some point.
Yeah.
And I said I would pick KU just because I thought that it was a spot where this is where Arizona gets got, and this is where KU rises to the moment. The crowd rises to the moment. All of those things happened, but it was different because Darren didn't play.
What was your initial feeling when you found that out? We were here.
Yeah, and it was kind of just like, are you serious? And when I heard flu-like symptoms, I'm thinking like, oh, he must have been throwing up like profusely if he couldn't play.
And then Mark Palos tweeted out
video of him warming up and all those kinds of things. And I got a text from someone who was there and said, I noticed it right away. He was warming up, and then if you understand how things go at college basketball games, they go in, they come back out, they go back in, they come back out. But he didn't come out after the second time. And from that point on, people were like, oh, he's not going to play. And then we get to a story of KU athletics and them putting out a statement saying that someone's text that was
Is an ESPN
recorded
worker?
over their shoulder was a staffer for ESPN who's not affiliated with the university, and they were just speculating. But if you read the text that was being typed out, that is quite a specific thing to speculate about, and it is something that I would believe if there was no truth to it, could be ignored.
One of two things happened with that text. Either that guy was just trying to show off to his friends and like claim that he knew something,
or he was
and try to be cool because he works ESPN games, or he heard something he wasn't supposed to and it was real.
And you got to think that individual is sitting on the stats row, the side of the court that's next to all the team benches.
Yeah.
He's sitting close to a lot of KU employees. So I think that even if the part of the text, the end part of the text, I would suggest going and looking this up online because it is on. I wrote a story about this last night on KCTV5.com. The back portion of the text, the alleged statement of what Darren Peterson said or did not say to Bill Self, I don't know if necessarily that is how it was said, but if that is the interaction of Bill Self saying either play and play at your best, or we're not doing it tonight because we can't afford to do the whole play half the game and then ditch
and get
us.
The guys to adjust constantly throughout
against
the game.
Arizona.
Yeah,
because we saw what the adjustment period of that first 5 minutes of the game was really for KU. I don't fault Bill Self for that, and I honestly think that it's at the point where, yes, they absolutely need Darren Peterson to hit their ceiling and to win a national championship. If he's not there, they can make a Sweet 16. And the gap between Sweet 16 and
Final
national
order.
championship is somewhere in there of how much does Darren Peterson contribute to the group project. He, to me, is at the point of he is a kid who should get an easy A in the class. He's that talented. He's that smart. But he's going to get a B in the class being contributing as a college basketball player, because this is not going to be an indictment on his entire professional career later on. But he's going to get a B because there's always something with him going on. And I understand. I have a lot of KU fans in my life. Some of them have said, let's move on. And I understand that feeling as a fan, but if you are Bill Self and you're saying this is the most talented player I've ever coached in my life, of course you're going to give him some leash to figure this thing out. It's a shame because he's the best player of a freshman class that there are like no misses on. Look up and down. Every single 5-star this year has been awesome at their respective university, and he's been awesome when he's been out there. But it is a testament to Melvin Council and Flory Badunga and Bryson Tiller, really.
Bryson Tiller, breakout freshman.
Yes, exactly. It's a huge win. And Saturday, it's the close of that crazy stretch that we talked about.
And Iowa State just lost last night to TCU.
Yeah.
Who's not a very, very good basketball team. I also have a lot of KU fans in my life who have different opinions about this, and most of them come from the standpoint of their former student athletes themselves. And they've said to me, like, it's getting hard to continue to root for him and continue to like make excuses for him and all that stuff. Like, that's kind of where the KU fan base is at this point. There are for sure people who heard about what happened and are saying he had the flu, like he has the flu, like he can't play, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of us have had the flu. Like, I know I've had the flu and I felt god awful. I also like think back to like my dancing days. Like, I once did a 4-hour recital with a migraine and I couldn't see and a torn meniscus. Like, I just did it. Like, it's in the big moments, and they're mad that he's missing these big moments because the games that he haven't played in have been massive games.
That's the part of it that concerns you about March, because the last time that KU did this on a much smaller scale was Remy Martin in 2022, and he didn't play throughout February, didn't play throughout late January, didn't play at the end of senior day. He was a senior on that team that won the national championship, and he played like 8 minutes on senior day against Texas. And in March, he goes up and does everything, and all KU fans, everything's forgiven for him.
Yeah.
But this is so different where it's like everyone was saying throughout October, November, and December, oh, it'll be fine. He'll come back for Big 12 play, and he'll play in all the big games and all that kind of stuff. Now he's missed Duke, UConn, half of the BYU game, and number 1 Arizona. He played against Iowa State. And half and the game against Arizona. So it's like just because it's a big game doesn't mean that he's out there.
Even though
K-State was
still a big game.
K-State was a ankle injury,
Rivalry
which
game.
is different than everything else that's going on. But Saturday, we'll see what he does Saturday. So
let's see. Saturday's a big one.
And then he's got to make a decision on whether he wants to play on a glass floor.
Did you also see the tweet about that?
Yeah.
We're referencing someone said, is Darren's agent going to let him
play on the glass
floor?
Yeah.
Court? Oh, the glass floor court. How funny would that be? Well, they got a big one this Saturday against Iowa State, and next Monday KU will if they're not in the top 5, I think I'd be shocked.
So many teams in the top 10 have already lost this week. So
and I mean, Iowa State's in the top 5, so if KU beats them this Saturday, like, there's no way they're not in the top 5. And they host Houston less than 2 weeks from now on another big Monday at home. So that'll also be huge because those are currently the top 4 in the Big 12.
Yep.
And KU's only 1 game back now.
Yep. All
right, before we go, blockbuster trades from the KC Current today. First, we find out that they have acquired the 2024 Rookie of the Year from the NWSL from the Washington Spirit, Croy Bethune. She's a midfielder, crazy good, and it's for a record $1 million in whatever trade.
Transfer funds.
Transfer funds, yes. The unfortunate part, they are also trading away their star midfielder who's become a fan favorite the last few years, Claire Hutton. Started when she was 17 with the KC Current. She's now 20 years old. Just last month made U.S. Women's National Team history as the youngest team captain ever in the team's history. I don't love the decision to let go of her because she was such a fan favorite and vocal voice in that locker room despite how young she was. And, I mean, she's the youngest captain ever on the U.S. Women's National Team, so clearly she's crazy awesome. But they are acquiring $1.1 million in transfer funds for that.
Yeah.
So you got to get the money from somewhere, and they decided they wanted Croy Bethune. What are your thoughts?
It's the Croy is the one who won NWSL Rookie of the Year in 2024. Claire Hutton was runner-up. They are very similar in terms of skill level and production level when Croy was hurt for a lot of 2025.
Yeah.
It's an interesting choice, and it's kind of a one-in, one-out situation here.
Yeah.
Neil has dubbed me soccer boy. I don't have enough soccer thoughts to really evaluate whether it is a great move or not, but they will be judged on ultimately how they do in the postseason because they've been so great in the regular season for multiple years, and it hasn't resulted in the ultimate prize.
They're trying to make a change.
And so they're changing things, but
well, Claire
see how it goes.
Hutton is going to be missed. She was always a great answer on the podium after games and all that fun stuff. So, all right, that's your look. KC Sports tonight on a Wednesday. We'll see you back here at 5:30 tomorrow. Adios.